The best team baseball can buy just won back-to-back World Series. Meanwhile, the best roster Team USA could assemble might not even make it out of pool play in the WBC.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz. That's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. On today's show, Roki Sasaki flashed ace-level stuff on Tuesday, striking out nearly everyone he faced against minor league opposition. We're diving into the Locked On MLB Top 100 list, where 7 Dodgers made the ranking, but several key names were mysteriously left off. But first, absolute chaos at the World Baseball Classic. Team USA, loaded with MVPs and superstars, got stunned by Italy in one of the craziest upsets this tournament has ever seen. Travis, the Americans don't even control their own fate anymore.
No, I mean, wow, did that happen fast? And the manager may have blown this in a very, very major way. I'm sure we'll get into all of this on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBTheShow/Locked On and use the code Locked On to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. You can pre-order now, available through March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, and it is rated E for everyone.
I got my copy of MLB The Show 25 right here. In less than 2 weeks, I'm going to have my MLB The Show 26 locked and loaded. For now, every weekday afternoon, Travis, you can check him out live from 3 to 6 on 710 ESPN LA as part of the Travis and DeMarco Show. Meanwhile, when I'm not on the mic calling USC football games in Espanol, you might catch me playing MLB The Show 26 or right here posted up talking Dodgers baseball every weekday. If this is your first time dropping in, welcome. You're exactly where you should be. And if you're an everydayer, you already know this show runs on your energy. Are you watching on YouTube? Help us out. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you're always locked in. Or leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts to spread the word to more Dodger fans. If you ever want to be a part of the show, the Locked On Dodgers listener line is always open. 279-3-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Call and leave us a voicemail anytime, or as simple as leaving us a text. All right, the big headline of the day: if super teams are easy, Team USA wouldn't be in trouble. If you had asked anyone before the World Baseball Classic started who the favorite was to win the tournament, a lot of people would have said Team USA without hesitation. Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and we can keep going on and on and on and on. A lineup full of MVP candidates and all-star, and yet Tuesday night they got punched in the mouth. Italy beat Team USA 8-6, and it wasn't even as close as the score makes it sound, Travis, because the Italians jumped on the Americans early. They launched 3 home runs in the first few innings, and they built an 8-0 lead before Team USA could catch its breath and start thinking, wait, what are the tiebreakers in this tournament? Oh, crap, we need to start scoring a lot of runs and think about coming back on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great example of why we love baseball the way we do, and how every time you think you kind of know what's going to happen, you're probably wrong. It's just, I mean, weird stuff happens in this game. The Italians, beating up the Americans in the WBC, I don't think was on anybody's bingo card, and that's exactly what happened. And I mean, now all of a sudden it gets weird where, like you said, Harry, you have to hope that Mexico or that Italy wins, or if Mexico wins by a very specific score, that if Mexico scores more than 5 runs and wins that game, the Americans are out. Now, if Mexico wins and it's a 4, if they win 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, or 4-3, the Americans do advance in that spot. So there's all sorts of weird things that can happen there, but every game matters, and every run in a tournament like this matters. Those runs they gave up against Brazil matter. The runs that thankfully they got back in the game against Italy last night could potentially matter. But yeah, it's just shocking, and it's funny, watching it last night. it just goes to remind you that even if you have the best team with the best players, the best situation, et cetera, doesn't guarantee you anything. And I think, for me at least, I'm thinking of the Dodgers. They have the best players. They are the favorites. They are the team that, has the deepest lineup, the most pitching, et cetera, et cetera. And it doesn't really guarantee you anything. So it was a really good reminder of how quickly this stuff can change. And if they don't make it out of their pool, this is one of the great upsets in sports that we've seen in years. I mean, they were heavy favorites to not just maybe win the whole thing, but certainly to win their pool. And they may be going home in a day.
Exactly. And the crazy part is you go with Mark DeRosa that same day, Tuesday, early in the day, he was on MLB Network pretty much saying it's like, yeah, we're in the quarterfinals and I got to get some guys off their feet. They still had a pretty good lineup. When you go with the guys up and down that lineup, they had a good lineup. They had Aaron Judge batting cleanup. They ended up, Will Smith. I know he ain't Cal Raleigh hitting 50-plus home runs, but he's a damn good catcher. Crow-Armstrong, all-star last season, bad second half, but still a damn good player. And it was like, what's going on? They get tacked on 8 runs early, and it's like, oh boy. I'll be honest. I'm a Team Mexico and a Team USA fan. I was like, okay, Italy, Mexico, it's win and you're in. But then I was like, wait, if Italy wins, that was before the game. It's a 3-1, and then if Mexico wins on Wednesday, it's 3-1. Everybody, what's the tiebreakers? I was like, and I started reading. I'm like, oh boy. And the game starts, it's going on, and it literally, and you had Clayton Kershaw warming up in this game. It was a situation where it's like you need to throw in Mason Miller and hope Italy doesn't score no more runs and you some way, somehow try to come back and win it.
I think you're spot on. I think DeRosa really screwed this up, and he took ownership of it afterwards. So I'll give him credit for that. But they weren't into the quarterfinals. They had not qualified. They had not, punched their ticket through to the next round. And I hear what you're saying, and you're right that they put together a good lineup because no matter who you throw out there is going to be pretty good. But I think you would agree. I certainly feel this way. I think most people feel that wasn't their best lineup. That wasn't the best team that they could have put out there. To your point, the pitching that they were setting up to do, those weren't their best guys after McLean started the game. And you needed to win that game. And I'm sure the way that DeRosa positioned it with his guys, I'm sure the way that the vibe in the clubhouse was, hey, we got this thing. It wasn't hey, we're not in yet. Just that mental, that switch you throw in your head between, hey, no matter what happens, we're in, and hey, we need to win to advance to the next thing. They clearly did not have that right. It's a major mistake, and maybe they'll get fortunate and they'll get to advance anyway. And maybe this is the scare they needed to kind of get themselves over the top to begin with. But Harry, if they don't get out, I mean, what a catastrophe.
No doubt about it. I want to reference a tweet I saw from June Lee, an independent sports journalist previously on ESPN. He said the following and quoted the video from MLB Network, which, by the way, MLB took down from their socials, from their YouTube channel.
That tells you all you need to know, right? That they took it down tells you how damaging it actually is.
No doubt about it. It's like crazy. But then it's like if it's on the internet, it lives forever. June Lee posted, USA hockey head coach, 2-time Stanley Cup champ. USA basketball head coach, 4 times finals champ. USA soccer head coach, Champions League runner-up. USA baseball manager, talk show host. I know Mark DeRosa is a decade-plus veteran in the big leagues. He's been there. He's done that. But you need someone that knows how to manage a team, somebody that knows how to what's on the line and what the format of the damn tournament is. That's to be like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do that. Japan, they were locked in for the next round when they were up 3, when they won their first 3 games, they benched some of their starters. Shohei Ohtani didn't play in the final game of full play at the Tokyo Dome, but they had no issue because everybody else was playing for second place. They couldn't reach them. Right here, you just had to do the numbers and be like, man, if we lose, we're going to be in a tight spot.
Yeah, they blew it. There's no spinning it. They blew it. And somebody needed to tell him on his staff, look, he should have known himself that to the number one responsibility of a manager, of a head coach, of however you want to say it, is to understand the format of what it is you're going into play. Because, like, look, the Olympics are different than the NBA. The Olympics are different than the NHL. They understand the rules and how this is, and how the number one priority for Mark DeRosa after he had his roster and how he wants to do this is, how do we get out of our pool? And then it's, okay, how do you win in the knockout round? And that he didn't understand that a three-way tie goes to a tiebreaker, and a loss to Italy put them in a position where it could be a three-way tie. It's just a huge failure on his part. It's a huge failure on his staff's part. It's a huge failure on USA Baseball's part, where somebody didn't go, yo, you're not in yet. You need to win this game. If you don't win, you don't control your own destiny. That's up to somebody else at this point. That never happened. It's a failure across the board. And, look, Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, all these guys on this team, and if they get knocked out in the pool, what does that feel like? How do you carry that around, knowing that you put together the best American team ever and you can't get out of your pool? That's brutal.
And honestly, Travis, and this makes us circle it all back to the Dodgers. It's a perfect reminder of something that we've talked about in this show. Baseball is the ultimate chaos sport. The best roster doesn't always win. It doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win a championship. You could have the biggest payroll, and it doesn't guarantee absolutely nothing. To your point, it makes it almost a very high possibility, not a guarantee, but a high probability that you'll make it to the playoffs. Once you make it to the postseason, then it's a different monster, because just like the Dodgers, Team USA is stacked with elite players, but right now they're struggling to survive pool play. And look, you ask anybody, you win 3 out of 4 games, everybody's going to say, yes, I'll take that. But you never thought that the rest of your opposition would be playing the way that they're playing right now, and that's something that you have to contemplate, that you have to consider.
That's it. That once you saw that Italy had not lost a game, you're like, hey, the plan has changed, right? That because I think everybody thought that game between Mexico and the United States was going to be the one to win the pool, because we assumed that Italy would have lost a game leading up to this point. Well, they haven't. And now all of a sudden, Italy is in charge of this pool. Italy is the team that can go through the pool unbeaten. They can be the top seed coming out of it. And now you're down to a tiebreaker between Mexico and USA. And it's a mess if they don't get out.
Travis, it's as easy as this. Why do you play Tarek Skubal, who's only going to pitch once in the tournament, against the Great Britain? Yeah. Those guys are great playing soccer. Baseball, not that much. I know that they'll take some players that are born in the States with British roots to go and play in the tournament, but save them. Look at the rosters and be like, okay, maybe Italy is more worthy of facing Skubal. They played Skeens against Mexico. They didn't think that one twice. They should have thought 3 times about where to pitch Tarek Skubal. And now, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be must-watch TV today, Mexico, Italy, and now all the United States fans are going to be watching. And that's another part too, Travis. I look at other teams and other fan bases, and I think that they're taking it way more seriously than the United States. They were taking it for granted that they were going to make it to the quarterfinals, and that maybe they'll start paying attention in the quarterfinals, semifinals, championship game. And that's something that needs to be evaluated too.
I think it's possible. I certainly think Mark DeRosa did not have his eye on the prize. I think that's for sure. I can't speak to the play. The players look to be playing hard. The players, I don't think, are taking a lot for granted. I think American baseball fans did. I think that, you look at the Dominican fans, you look at the Puerto Rican fans, the Mexican fans, the Japanese fans, the Korean fans. They're certainly more invested in this than maybe the American fans are. But I'm not going to say that about the players, because I'm not in that clubhouse. I can't speak to their level. When I watch it, it looks like they're engaged, but their manager certainly dropped the ball. There's no question about that.
I'll say this. If the U.S. does make it to the next round, they might be unstoppable, because they won't take nothing for granted, having to sweat watching other teams be with their ticket on the line for the next round. That's for sure. And look, winning championships is very hard, and it's exactly why, circling back to the Dodgers, what they've built is remarkable with the team that they have. Everybody thinks it's easy to win championships like that. No, it's not. Look at Team USA. They're sweating bullets right now. All right, next on Locked On Dodgers, 7 Dodgers players made the Locked On MLB Top 100 list, but honestly, in my opinion, that number should be higher. I've got 3 Dodgers who absolutely deserved to be ranked, and one of those snubs is especially ridiculous.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds. And I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
MLB opening day is almost here, and you can feel it, right? Fresh starts, big expectations, and that crack of the bat for the first time. Whether it is a rookie that we've been looking at, a division race that goes right down to the wire, there's nothing like being in the ballpark for all of it. The problem, of course, getting tickets can be a real pain in the you-know-what. Long queues, surprise fees, prices that jump at checkout. I hate that. That's why I like Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps, and it's super easy to use. The Game Time guarantee means that you're going to get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. Let me make this as clear as I possibly can. What you see is what you pay, period. How many times have you been on another site and been like, oh, I like that seat, I like that price, tapped it. Wait, what? Where did that come from? That's not going to happen, right? Of course, you're going to be able to see panoramic views from your seats. You can follow your favorite team, get alerts when new deals drop, so you are covered. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide to go to a game at the very last minute. And take the guesswork out of buying your MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download that Game Time app today.
If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. It'll be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use the code MARCH to get your first month free. That's March to get your first month free by visiting LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com or tapping the link in the show notes. 7 boys in blue made the Locked On MLB Top 100, but these Dodgers were robbed because, yes, they dominated the top 50. But when you go deeper at it, Travis, I got to say, Edwin Diaz not being on this list is crazy. The defending Trevor Hoffman National League Reliever of the Year. He has won that award twice over the last 4 years. One of the most dominant closers in the sport, and somehow not in the top 100. That right there, in my opinion, is tough to justify.
Yeah, I think had he been in there, I don't think it would have been a huge surprise. I think that it would have been, understandable that he is. I think it's probably to do with the fact that you mentioned, Diaz's career has kind of been good year, not so good year, not so good year. He kind of ping pongs back and forth between that, which, by the way, pretty common for relief pitchers. That's just kind of the way that, relief arm goes. I think this is one of the reasons that I'm, optimistic about Tanner Scott, is I think that just because he was really lousy last year doesn't mean that he'll be really lousy this year. There's a chance for a bounce back, but I'm with you. I think Diaz, if you're just looking at the best 100 players in baseball, when the guys, like if you just put everybody into a draft, does Edwin Diaz get picked in the first 100 picks? I think he does. I think he deserves to be in there. So I'm with you on that, and I'm just trying to come up with reasons why maybe he wouldn't have been in there, and that's really all I can come up with, because he's been, and by the way, it's only a little inconsistent, but I'm with you. I think he probably should have been in there as well.
If it were the 2025 MLB, the Locked On MLB Top 100, I get it. He didn't play in 24. He was not good. You look at all the stuff, like we said, 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, alternating back and forth. After a bad year, I would get it if he's not in the top 100. He was a reliever of the year last season. He definitely, elite closers impact games at the highest leverage moments imaginable. They shorten games, and if you don't put Diaz in that top 100, I don't know what you're doing. So, fellow Locked On host that didn't have Diaz in the top 100, I'm keeping an eye on you. Then there's Tyler Glasnow. And look, I understand the injury history conversation, but if Blake Snell is ranked comfortably inside the top 50, missing a bunch of time just like Glasnow did last year, why is Tyler Glasnow not in the top 100? Because when healthy, Travis, he has some of the nastiest stuff in baseball.
Yeah, I think that the comparison you make with Snell is the right one, because they played about the same amount. And actually, Glasnow might even have played a little bit more than Snell did. I think Glasnow's reputation works against him here, and the reputation is twofold. And I think that one kind of works against the other because he's so talented, because this stuff is so amazing. It feels like you're actually getting even less when he misses time, and he misses a lot of time. This goes back to Pittsburgh. This goes back to Tampa. This is continued as he's come to Los Angeles, that whenever you see these lists of who's got the best stuff in baseball, Tyler Glasnow's name shows up every single time. Like, one of the toughest at-bats that any major leaguers are going to have come against Tyler Glasnow. He just doesn't play enough. Like, I understand why Tyler Glasnow is left off these lists, because he's just not available often enough. I appreciate your point with Snell, but, Snell typically has been a little bit more available than Glasnow. But if we're just talking pure talent, Glasnow is not only on the list, he's near the top of the list. I think he has one. I don't even want to say a full season. I'm not saying that he's got to go through and make 35 starts. I'm saying, can we get a season where Tyler Glasnow makes 25 starts, maybe even 21 or 22 starts? I think he rockets up the list of things like this. He obviously is one of the most talented guys. He just hasn't played enough.
And then there's a player Dodgers fans appreciate way more than national rankings ever will. Max Muncy. Is he going to win an MVP? More than likely not. Probably not, and I'll say no. But is he somebody that once he's out of this lineup for X, Y, or Z reason, the Dodgers absolutely feel that he's not there? 1,000%. His impact on this team, Travis, is incredible. Now the longest tenured Dodger player on this roster. I know his defense is always a little circumstance that people say, but I'll be honest, I watch almost every single Dodgers game, and I have more damn what a good play than damn what a mistake did Max Muncy just do right there, like the inverse of Teoscar Hernandez. With his bat, he's amazing. His discipline up at the plate is great. It's literally the moment he gets injured is when this lineup goes from being, oh damn, they're great, to we're missing something right there in the middle, we're not connecting the top to the bottom.
Yeah, look, I think let's start with the defense. He went from a substandard defender to he's fine. No one's gonna think that he's Manny Machado over there. He's not going to be somebody like that. He's not going to be Nolan Arenado holding down third base defensively. But he went from a to no, he's fine. He does what needs to be done. He makes the plays you would expect him to make, and that's fine. And offensively, like, to your point, he is kind of the glue that holds a lot of this stuff together. I think that the thing that works against Max Muncy, quite frankly, is that he's just buried on a team with a million other stars. That if Max Muncy stayed with the Oakland A's, for instance, I think he would get a little more shine. If Max Muncy were a Chicago Cub or even an Atlanta Brave, and he was one of 2 or 3 good players on a team, we'd talk about him. The problem is Max Muncy is one of 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 good players on the Dodgers. And, Dodger fans certainly understand it because we get to see him every night. We get to appreciate everything he is. But if you're just kind of dropping in occasionally, you're looking at Ohtani and Betts and Freeman and Will Smith and Snell and Yamamoto and Kershaw when he was here and all those other guys. It was a bit. He's just going to get lost in the shuffle. So I understand why he's not there, but there are not too many third basemen in baseball that I'd trade him for.
Same here, same here. And look, so while the Dodgers already dominated the top 100 list, 7 in the top 50, there's a very real argument that at least 3 more names deserved recognition. And maybe this time next year, we might be talking about, damn, maybe they needed 5 more players on this list. If Alex Vesia has a great year, pop him in there. If Andy Pajes has an amazing third season, pop him in there as well. Tommy Edman, when he's healthy, he's incredible, because this roster isn't just talented, it's absurdly deep, and it's the embarrassment of riches. No doubt about it.
I think that the guys that are more likely to pop in are pitchers than they are position players. I mean, I think a year from now, if Emmett Sheehan was on the list, if Roki Sasaki was on the list, like, that wouldn't surprise me. If Gavin Stone had a great year like he did a couple of years ago, like, I think those guys have an opportunity as well. They got talent all over the field.
And speaking of talent, coming up on Locked On Dodgers, the Dodgers might have another ace developing. Roki Sasaki flashed electric stuff, even if the hitters he faced on Tuesday were minor leaguers.
Workplace chaos. Deadlines are stacking up, your inbox is overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. We're talking about the right skills, the right experience, the right location, so you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says everything. In the minute or so we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. When you need the right person, just cut through it and go to Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get the premium status your job deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support this show by saying you heard about it on Locked On Dodgers. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Today's episode is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. The best baseball video game in the world is back with its latest edition. And if you're a baseball fan like me, you already know how hard it is to put the controller down once you start playing. Every year, the game gets deeper, smoother, and more realistic, and this year is no different. I've been playing MLB The Show for years. Here's my copy from last year, MLB The Show 25. I'm ready to get MLB The Show 26, and every new release somehow feels more realistic than the last. The pitching mechanics, the hitting feedback, the stadium atmosphere, it really feels like you're part of the game. One of my favorite things about MLB The Show is loading up the Dodgers roster and getting to play with all the stars. And if you've ever dreamed about being a big leaguer yourself, Road to the Show lets you create your own player and work your way from the minors all the way to the majors. If you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just looking for a fun new way to experience America's pastime, you're going to love MLB The Show 26. Jump in with your favorite team, take control of your favorite players, and see if you have what it takes to bring home your own World Series title. Head to MLBThe.show/LockedOn and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a special pack for Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection required. Pre-order now. It's available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and across all social media at Locked On Dodgers. Meanwhile, you can find Travis at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram, and I'm on X at Harry Ruiz, Instagram at Harry_Ruiz, and at TikTok at Harry Ruiz _ Sorry, once again, at Harry Ruiz _. Roki Sasaki flashes ace stuff, even if it was just only against prospect. And look, spring training is always tricky when it comes to evaluating pitchers. Sometimes a dominant outing comes against minor leaguers, and that's what happened yesterday for Roki Sasaki, who Travis's first 2 starts in Cactus League action weren't good. The second one, he actually got pulled even before finishing the first inning and then came back to pitch a couple of innings where he looked better. But yesterday, they just decided throw him in the backfields and have him play against the prospects, the minor leaguers from the Chicago White Sox, and let's see what happens. And he was actually pretty damn good. He struck out 9, including 6 in a row. His fastball was sitting between 98 and 100 miles per hour. It was something impressive, but now we go back to the same, what you say. Spring training games, preseason games, you don't put a lot of stock into it. And I feel right here it was more that they just wanted to have him have a slump buster and be like, okay, there, go feel comfortable, and now we'll throw you in there later, but right before we go to the Freeway Series.
Yeah, I understand that. I much like when he pitched poorly a couple of times, I kind of shrugged my shoulders like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't really move me. This doesn't really move me that much either. That I do kind of agree with you on the idea of building some confidence, but Roki Sasaki knows those guys aren't major leaguers. Like him going out there and mowing down a bunch of he better mow down minor leaguers. That's what he's supposed to do. That's not, just blowing away a bunch of guys that you're supposed to blow away. Okay, I mean, I guess it's good that he did it, but I think that Roki Sasaki is going to be evaluated on how he pitches when it matters. And I'm optimistic. We've seen him, step up in really important moments. We saw it in October last year. We saw him struggle in moments last year as well, early in the season. So the velocity is good, I think matters. I think that is an encouraging sign. That the pitches had bite, I think matters. That's an encouraging sign. But the results that in and of themselves don't really move me all that much. I'm really curious to see how he's going to do this year. I'm really curious to see how they're going to use him. I'm really curious to see how much runway they're going to give him if he does get off to a bumpy start. Like, do you give him 3 starts? Do you give him 10? Like, how do you use him if he's not as sharp as you would like him to be before you say, all right, we need to reevaluate this. We need to tweak some things in the minor leagues. We might have to move him to the bullpen. I think that's one of the big questions through the early part of the season.
Yeah, here's his stat line from yesterday's game. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 hit by pitch, 9 strikeouts in 59 pitches. 40 of them were strikes. That's a stat line where you're like, okay, he's looking better. Now let's hope that I will say after last year, what we saw from him, the images in the dugout with him having tears in his eyes, going then afterwards to AAA. And even in AAA, he was struggling before he came back to the big leagues and became the Dodgers' top reliever out of the bullpen. I feel that this slump buster, confidence booster, however you want to say it, is going to be important for him, especially Dave Roberts. After the game, he said that Roki Sasaki is going to be a part of the opening day rotation. He's going to be a starter for this team as the season kicks off. So that they have all the trust in the world in him. Now it's what can he bring? And that developing that third pitch is going to be a big part of his repertoire as well.
Yeah, I don't think they have all the trust in the world in him. That's just being nice. That's just saying something because you have to say something into a TV camera. They're figuring it out, just like he's figuring it out. The guys they have trust in are Yamamoto and Ohtani and Snell and Glasnow. And those guys, Roki Sasaki's experience in the major leagues is very, very limited. He just hasn't pitched enough. We'll see. You got to earn that trust. Now, there's been some really high marks. There's been some really big moments where he's stepped up and been fantastic. And hopefully you stack a bunch of those together. I know Dave talks about that trust tree during the regular season and who's climbing it and who's not. And right now, I think he's, somewhere towards the base of the tree and he's starting to climb it. And with each good outing, he's going to get a little higher on that tree. And with each, less than good outing, you probably stay where you are, if not slide back a little bit. But he's a prospect. I think he's been given a little bit of an unfair jump because this is not a finished product. This is not somebody who has pitched a ton at the highest levels of this game. He is still learning how to do it. That Yamamoto, I think you could evaluate right out of the gate, like, okay, show me. You got $300 million. Let's go. Let's go. You was 3-time Cy Moore Award winner. Show me. And he did. This is a young man who is just getting started, who is inexperienced, who is learning a new league, and et cetera, et cetera. I am more curious than I am disappointed in anything. I just want to see how he does and how he continues to improve.
That's going to be a big opportunity for him, though, if he kicks off in the opening day rotation and he does a good job. I'm not saying be Yoshinobu Yamamoto, be Blake Snell, just be a dependent starter for this franchise. You're going to be like, okay, I earned myself another month, and hopefully he doesn't need to go back to the minor leagues this year like he did last year, because right now, I feel like it's a possibility if he starts struggling. I know that they are down Blake Snell, that they are down Gavin Stone for now, but they got a good support system behind him of healthy arms, of young arms that in any moment, Roki doesn't feel good. Roki needs something else. You know that you have somebody to cover that spot.
Just don't walk people and everything will be fine. Right. It really is. They're not going to light him up. It's just the stuff is good enough that he's not going to get lit up. It's just if you're giving them free base runners and then you give up a double here or there, you give up a home run here or there, instead of a 1-run inning, you have a 4-run inning. Just don't walk people and he'll be fine. And, we'll see. When he pitches well, he doesn't walk people. When he struggles, it's because he's afraid to come into the strike zone, and that's when he finds all the bumps in the road. So if he throws the ball in the strike zone, he's going to be all right.
So far, the latest memory we have of him is that outing on Tuesday at the backfields over there in Arizona.
Well, hopefully, before yourself. Not me. Not me.
The last thing that has been reported of him, the last thing that he's put out there has been a good one. Now let's see what happens the next time he's out on the mound. It's been a roller coaster experience with Roki Sasaki since he arrived at the Dodgers. That's without a doubt, and he always has the spotlight on him. All right, that'll do it for today's pod. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. We'll be back tomorrow, and the biggest topic in baseball is, will Team USA with that monster lineup make it into the next round? But they need help. They'll be rooting for Italy, or they'll be rooting for Mexico to score tons of runs, and with that, have the possibility to go into the next round. Travis, I'm going to be glued to the TV at 4 p.m., and it's going to be very, very interesting. It could be one of the stories of the year if Team USA doesn't make it into the next round.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly will be one of the baseball stories of the year. No question about it. I mean, this was a team that was favored to win the whole thing. They were the favorite to win the whole thing, and to not get out of the pool, forget about it. And they are looking their baseball mortality right in the face. It's going to be exciting.
Hey, maybe Benji Hill was onto something when he said U.S. versus Mexico in the final on Monday night. Maybe he had the script already in his hands. If you miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Dodgers ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Baseball as you gear up for the MLB season. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.